there it is. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Soul Seeds, where Brandi is my guest expert for today. And Brandi is a psychic medium mentor. And today we are going to talk about the topic of trusting your intuition. So thank you, Brandi, for being here.
Yes, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. And I would love to know, like, why is it so hard for people to trust and listen to their intuition?
Yeah, that whenever anytime I work with a client, that is their biggest hurdle that they have to get over. And it was mine as well. I don't know why it's so hard to trust ourselves. I think our society has really conditioned us to not trust ourselves.
Mm.
Maybe if you had like trauma in your past, or maybe if you've had like a low self-esteem, or someone who said like don't show your emotions, it's a sign of weakness. So we've kind of, some people, not everyone, have been taught to almost distrust themselves.
Right.
Like maybe you're hungry and someone says, how could you possibly be hungry, you just ate, so you're almost
Mm.
like, oh, that must be wrong then. And
Yeah.
then you kind of distrust what your body's telling you
Yeah,
because it's
you
what
feel
someone else.
guilty for feeling how you feel.
Yes, exactly. So they're kind of like discrediting it, and then you believe them over yourself. So
Mm.
I think it's that. I think it's fear of judgment. A lot of people might not be able to say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. Or maybe they've even listened to their intuition before, but feel that maybe it made a mistake, which I always say, then, are you sure you've done it correctly? Like, are you sure that it was your intuition? Because, there's programs out there that are just about developing your intuition, because it is something very hard to do. But I think a lot of people too, like, it's just like a relationship, right? So if you get into a relationship and you've only been dating a guy for like 2 days, like
Mm.
you're not going to trust them like within 2 days.
Right.
It's going to take a lot of time. So it's the same with yourself. You really have to, ask it questions, see the results, see that it's taking you to the right place, and
Yeah.
then you start to trust it. So it does take time to build that, especially like I said, if you've had this childhood of saying to excuse me, to a second.
Take a sip of water, yeah.
Spirit must be with us. Sorry.
No problem.
Spirit will sometimes affect my throat, so I
Mm, oh
feel
my
like
dear.
spirit's with us right now.
They want to be in charge right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of societal conditioning. Also, we're always told to listen to our brain, to listen to our
Right.
logic, our rational mind, our critical thinking, to analyze. So I feel like a lot of it too is, we're taught to listen with our brains, and that's
Mm.
the left side of our brain, but our
Like
intuition
mind
lies.
over matter kind of thing.
Yes,
Right.
exactly. And when we listen to the left side of the brain, and we've been taught our whole lives to listen to that, and now we're trying to switch it over to the right side of the brain, to the intuition side, it is like an internal battle. It's like this
Yeah.
battle of society's saying this, the research is saying this, but this is how I feel. And this is what I want. This is my need, my desire. And so
Mm.
it's really that battle of, do I do what I want? And a lot of
Mm.
people think that's selfish then, when it's really not.
Mm.
Shouldn't say it's selfish, because the more authentic you are to yourself, the more authentic and the more you can give to others. So it's actually a win-win if you can actually just say, hey, I'm not going to do what society wants. I'm going to live the life that I want. And you'll
Mhm.
see that it's going to actually help you in the long run, and it's going to help others as well.
And how do we know when it's actually our intuition talking to us? Because it usually comes as a voice, as a nudge. But how do we know it is our intuition and not our ego?
Yes. So the ego is that left side of the brain that I was
Mm.
talking about. And so I always say, your ego has a purpose. We don't want to completely get rid of the ego.
Mhm.
The ego wants you to be safe and secure and protect you, but it also doesn't want you to take risks. It doesn't
Mhm.
want you to come out of your comfort zone. So I always say, if you want to listen to your intuition, treat your ego like a good friend that's giving you bad advice,
Yeah.
and just say, like, what, today I appreciate that you're saying that, but today I'm going to listen to my intuition.
Yeah.
Best way is, of course, to ask a question, because if you don't ask a question, you won't get an answer.
Mhm.
So I've actually created the AFTA method, and it's AFTA. And it's not like I created it, but it's just kind of like what my own spin on it. So first you ask a question, then you feel the answer somewhere in your body. And so
Mm.
it could be a feeling in your gut. It could be chills down your spine. It could be your eyes start to flutter, or like I just had, my throat was starting to tickle. So you have that like feeling, but it's not always a feeling. It can also be something that you hear deep inside of you, a voice. It could be a vision or an image that you're seeing. So you really need to practice to figure out what it is in your body, how it's giving you that answer.
Mhm.
And the way that intuition feels is it's very calm and it's about the present and it's very instantaneous. You only have 4 seconds to listen to the intuition. By the time you go into that fifth second, your rational mind is in the way. It's talking you out of it. It's
The
telling
ego is
you,
taking
okay,
over again. Yeah.
yeah, the ego's taking over. So you only have 4 seconds. It's very
Mm.
instant. And it's coming from a calm place. So if you're having, like heart palpitations or your shortness of breath, or if you're starting to have fear or worries or resentments, bitterness, anything like that, that is not your intuition. Your intuition is very calm, it's
Mhm.
very loving, it's very free and joyful. So it's a very like content message that you'll receive.
Mhm.
So yeah, so first you ask, then you feel, then you trust it. Because that's the big thing, right?
Mm.
Is trusting it. And then you act on what it says. Because if it told you to do something, that's really what you want deep down inside. Even if your brain is saying something different,
Mhm.
your
Right.
heart and your soul is saying this. So that's what you really want to guide you. And so you want to act on it, and then you'll start to see, the results. So I always say to keep a journal,
Mhm.
write down what you asked your intuition, what the answer was, and what action you took in your life to start to see the changes that's going on in your life. And you'll really be surprised at where it takes you. And it might
Mm.
not be a month from now, it could be a year from now, but you'll really start to see how your life changes by
Mm.
listening to that mind body connection instead of just all the facts.
And as you mentioned, like the intuition, you can also feel it in your body. Like usually we tend to think of it as like this little voice that tells us what to do or that has a little red flag going up. And
Yes. Yeah.
what are some of the more like less obvious ways that intuition can show up for us?
Sure. So it's actually best to look at it in the opposite. So have you ever been in a situation where you were like, I knew I shouldn't have done that and I did it anyway, right? So that's what we're trying to avoid. We're trying to avoid you not listening.
Mhm.
So yeah, it could be, you know, um, some people get a sign from the universe. So it might like you might see like a feather or an orb or a coin with a significant year on it. So these are little signs that the universe is giving you to show you that you're going in the right direction. But if you don't know
Mhm.
how to look out for those signs, if you're not looking for them, you're going to miss them. So
Mhm.
I think a lot of it is that people just kind of miss the intuition. They
Mm.
dismiss the feeling or the hearing, and they because it all comes down to not trusting themselves. So
Mm.
it really is a matter of you need to trust yourself, because if you don't, and if you're living in fear, and if you're living through anxiety, it's going to be very hard to connect with your intuition.
Mm. And what is a practical way to tap into that intuition daily?
Sure. So if you're starting to feel anxious or if you're starting to feel fear come up, it's best to do breathwork exercises, which is really whenever it's not so much meditation, you can do it with your eyes open,
Mhm.
but you really want to focus on the breath because anxiety and fear will cause your heart to go faster. And we really want to calm that down because
Mm.
intuition comes from a place of calm. So, one example is the four square breathing exercise. So, you
Mhm.
envision or you can draw a square, and you'll just take 4 seconds and breathe in as you go across the square, breathe out 4 seconds as you go down the square, breathe in as you go across the square for 4 seconds, and then exhale as you go up the square for four
Mm.
seconds. And you can do that for several minutes to really start to tell your body, hey, I'm in a calm position. Because when you can slow down the breath, it's going to tell your brain, I'm safe, I'm okay
Mhm.
right now.
Right.
Because a lot of times people have irrational fear.
Mhm.
If there's a criminal coming at you, clearly you're in danger. There's a threat, right? Get out of
Run.
there. Fight or flight.
Yes.
But if it's a thought, that's when you have to recognize, like, this is just a thought. There's really nothing going on around me that's fearful. This
Right.
is coming from my own head. This is not reality. This is irrational. And that's
Mhm.
when you want to really calm yourself down.
Mhm.
And then that way your intuition can then step up and take
Right.
over.
Yeah, we have to allow for that space for our intuition to be heard, really.
Yes, absolutely. Or
Mhm.
felt or seen or whatever it is, whatever it is for your five physical senses, whatever it is for you, because everyone has it a little bit different.
Mhm. But thank you so much, Brandy, for today. Thank you.
Yes, thank you for having me.